All right, old school NBA fans, self-researched NBA facts. Got another video for you. As always, thanks to anybody who watches my videos, subscribes to my channel. I really appreciate it. Just know here in the next couple weeks, I got some help, some editing help. So might be coming into the 21st century with some video, with some graphics. I'm sure hoping so. So you won't have to look at the old guy with the gray hair and the crooked teeth for too much longer. Hopefully I'll be able to get it all set up to where I can put the video and the graphics on the screen instead of the whiteboard. We'll see. It still might be a hybrid of both, but we'll see how it goes. But I'm pretty excited about the possibility of, like I said, bringing this, a little more modern and everything. So anyway, this video here. Oh, and the guy with the sinus problems, always coughing. This video here is something that I researched extensively. And I tried to find any player in NBA history who had 4 trips to the finals and came away with only 2 wins. I looked for every player I could. Since most of the top 75 players are the winners anyway. So what I did was I'm just going to give you the top 75 players' worst 4 showings in the finals. Now, I looked at practically everybody. I looked at all the teams who lost in 4, in 5, and 6, who did it in a tight window. Anybody who might have been on multiple teams that, lost badly, getting swept, losing in 5, whatever. And there was no one. So anyway, let me get into it. The first player on my list, now this is all going to be top 75 players who made at least 4 trips to the finals. So you're not going to see Akeem Olajuwon or Patrick Ewing or Karl Malone or John Stockton. You're just not going to see those guys. Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, they just didn't make 4 trips to the finals. And that's okay. James Harden, Russell Westbrook, these guys, Anthony Davis, just didn't make 4 trips to the finals. But of the guys that did, their 4 worst finals. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 6-16. That was his record of his 4 worst showings of the finals. He got swept in 1983. He got swept in 1989. He lost in 7 in 1974, and he lost in 7 in 1984. So that makes him 6-16 of his bottom 4. And this is a guy who went to the finals 10 times. And I know he had a really good team and all that, but he also got swept twice. But he didn't go to the finals in any 4 of his finals and come away with just 2 wins. That didn't happen. And one of those finals, he was 42 years old and looked it. And, he was averaging 10 points a game. Ray Allen, he went to 4 finals. And what's funny about that one is he was a teammate of LeBron James for 2 of them. So of his 4, obviously in 2008, won the championship in 6. In 2010, lost in 7. 2013, won in 7. And then in 2014, got beat in 5. So his record is 12-13. That's all 4 of his finals. So Ray Allen actually has a losing record in the finals. But whatever. Now here's where it gets really interesting to me. Elgin Baylor, his worst 4 finals, he was 7-16. 7-16. So what happened was he lost in, I think it was he lost in 6, 6, 6, and 5. That was his 4 worst showings. And this is a guy who went to the finals, I think 7 times, never won a championship. Actually, no, he got swept in 59. But he just didn't, he won games in all of them. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it was, he lost in 6, 6, and 7. Because most of those, he lost in 7 games, 3 or 4 of them. But his 4 worst, he was 7-16. That's Elgin Baylor, a guy who never won a championship, going up against Boston in the 60s. still managed to win 7 games in his worst 4 showings in the finals. Larry Bird, 12-12. He's only been there 5 times. You take away his best showing, which would have been, I guess, 86 when they beat Houston in 6. That was his best showing. And then won the championship in, either one, 81. He won in 6, won in 7, lost in 6 for a record of 12-12. So his worst 4 showings, he's 12-12. Kobe Bryant, his worst 4 showings is 12-11. And of course, that would be the 1-4 against Detroit. That would be the losing in 08 in 6, beating Boston in 2010 in 7, and then I think the other one would have been the 2000 finals. He won in 6 games. That was his 4 worst showings. 12-11. Wilt Chamberlain. Here's a guy who was 2-4 in the finals. He won 2 championships, lost 4. But in those 4 losses, he won 8 games. He was 8-16. So he didn't just get mashed over. He won games. And he lost in, I believe it was 73, 70, 69, and 64 when he was on San Francisco. A record of 8-16, though. All 4 finals he lost, he still won 8 games. What can you say? Bob Cousy's worst 4 showings, he's got a 14-13 record. Now, he did lose 1 in 1958, but still had a winning record in his bottom 4, 14-13. Steph Curry, he's been to the finals 6 times, 13-10. He lost in 6, he lost in 7. He had sweep, he won in 5, he won in 6, and he won in 6. So his record is 13-10, because that would be 3, 3, 3, and 4 equals 13. There you go. Tim Duncan, 15-10. Here's a guy who's only been to the finals 6 times. But again, you take away his 2 best wins, his record 15-10. John Havlicek, 8-0 in the finals. His worst was 16-11. Now here's where it gets interesting. Magic Johnson, he does have a bad record in his worst 4 finals showings. That would have been the 1983 against the Sixers when he got swept. That would have been in 91, he lost in 5 to the Bulls. Now, in 89, they did get swept by Detroit, but he was only there for 3 games. And one of them he played 5 minutes. But we're trying to be technically accurate. So his record was 4-15, because he would have won 1 in 91. And then the other one that he lost, because he lost 4, would have been against Boston in 7 games in 84. So that's why he at least won 4 games. And even though he got swept twice, he still won 4 games and lost 5 in another. Sam Jones, of course, he's part of that Boston machine. 14-11 is his worst 4. Bob McAdoo, now he was part of the early 80s Lakers, 11-12. Kevin McHale, 12-12, same as Larry Bird. George Mikan, even though Mikan never lost in the finals, they were close series, 16-10. He won his worst 4 showings, I believe, was he won in 7 twice and won in 6 twice. That's how he had 10 losses. Shaquille O'Neal, 9-12. And here's a guy, he got swept in the finals in 95. He lost in 5 in 04. And then his other 2, worst showings, I guess you could say, was beating Dallas in 6 when he was on Miami in 06, and then beating Indiana in 6 in 2000. That gets him to 9-12. Still not a bad record for your bottom 4. Robert Parrish, same thing as McHale and Bird, 12-12. Bob Pettit. Now here's a guy who won 1 championship. 1. But his bottom 4, because he only went there 4 times, he won 4 championships. I mean, he lost 4. He won 4. He lost 14 games. He won 11 games in his 4, because he got 4, and then he got I believe it was 2, 2, and 1 were the other ones. Actually, I think he may have been to 5, because one of them they lost in 7. But either way, his bottom 4, 11-14 for Bob Pettit. And this is what's funny is the best record on the board of their bottom 4 finals showings are Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan, 16-8. That's as bad as it got for them in their worst 4 showings because they won every finals in 6 except for the first one in 5. So 16-8 for Pippen and Jordan. That's the best on the board. Better than Russell, better than Sam Jones, better than everybody. 16-8. Most of these people don't have a winning record. Tim Duncan, 15-10. That was a good record, but nobody's touching 16-8 as your worst 4 finals showings. Dennis Rodman, he had a pretty good record, 15-10. Here's a guy who only appeared in 6 finals, lost in 7, swept the Lakers in 89, beat Portland in 5. So his worst 4 showings would have been the loss in 88, plus the 3 wins when he was on the Bulls, winning in 6 each. So Dennis Rodman's worst 4 showings, actually it's not 15-10. His worst 4 showings would have been 9 and, because he lost, 6, 10, 9 and 10 would have been his. Well, no, I guess he would have. Yeah, that's right. He won his Dennis Rodman's bottom 4. He won 3 of the championships. That gives him 12 wins. And the only one he lost was in 88. So, yeah, it was right. 15-10. My bad. 15-10. See, this is where video editing would come in and help. It'll clean up some of that, the stuff. But I always kind of liked it, that it was raw, unedited. It's just like, hit record. Here you go. If I say something wrong, I try to correct it later. But that, I'm not in there, correcting everything. It's just like it's raw and uncensored, basically. All right, Bill Russell, 13-10 was his record in his bottom 4 finals. Bill Sharman, 14-11. Now here's one of those guys that I put purple in there because that's one of the worst records. Magic was 4-15. Wes Unseld was 5-15. He only ever played in 4 finals. He got swept in 2 of them. 2 sweeps. He got beat. And then he got beat, I believe, in 5 games. So he was almost right there, but he won one in 7. And I believe that was in 78. They beat Seattle. Then they lost to Seattle in 5 the next year. So that would give you a record of 5-15. And like I said, here's a guy who got swept twice and lost in 5 once, but he still won one. He got there 4 times. Dwayne Wade, 11-13. And again, he was, part of LeBron James. He was one of LeBron James's teammates from 2011 to 2014. In those 4 finals, then you add on the 06 one. So his worst 4 showings would have been 06, 11, 13 and 14. Comes to 11-13. And I believe in Dwayne Wade's career, he's 15-14 in the 5 finals that he played in. So just over 500. Jerry West didn't have a great record either. And here's a guy who only won 1 championship and lost 8. So he's pretty close to LeBron James's situation, except LeBron won 4 out of 10. Jerry West won 1 out of 8, or it might even have been 1 out of 9. I think it was maybe 9. Anyway, his worst 4, he's 6-16. One of them he got beat in 5 games. I know that. And that was when Elgin Baylor was hurt. I believe that was in 1965. They still managed to win 1 game without Elgin Baylor. Okay? So then he lost another one in 5, which I want to say that was in 63, maybe something like that. Or no, that was against the Knicks. That's right. His 73. He lost in 5 to the Knicks, lost in 5 and 65, and then he lost in 6, the other times basically, or 7. But for this one here, 68 and 69, or 68 he lost in 6, and I think it was 60, I don't remember, 66 maybe. Anyway, Jerry West 6-16. James Worthy 8-13. He was on the Lakers in 83, but he didn't play, so he does not get part of that. Now he did get swept in in 5 games, but of course he didn't play the last game in 91. So that accounts for 3 of the losses. And then, of course, he got swept in 89. So that's 4 more losses. Lost in 7 to Boston. That would have been in 84. And then the other one was, I think it's just one that they won. He didn't lose 4 finals. He only lost the 3, I believe, right? I mean, James Worthy won it in 84, lost it in 85, won it in 87, won it in 88, lost in 89, and lost in 91. So he's got 3 out of 6. I'm pretty sure that's right. Yeah, because Magic, the only 3 Magic has without Worthy was 80, 82, and 83. Yep, that's right. Kyrie Irving I threw on here because he was an original top 75 player. And also I found it relevant because he was one of LeBron James's teammates. He's made 4 finals now. He was in 2015, even though he only played in 1 game, he was in there. That's a finals. 2016, 2017, and then last year in 2024. So he got beat in 5. And then the 1 game he played, I believe they won that game. So right there, you're 3-8. And then the other one they won. That was against Golden State. So that was what would give him 7. Or actually, I think he lost in 2015, the 1 game he played. But anyway, all told, Kyrie Irving 6-12. That's his record. His only 4 finals. I looked at every NBA player that I could find to go anywhere near 4 losses in the finals or more, and what was their worst showings. No one could touch 2-16. That's the worst in NBA history right there. So how the hell are you going to try to tell me this guy is the GOAT when he is literally the biggest loser ever in the NBA when it comes to the finals? And I'm not talking about, losing a series. Sure, that's true. But nobody's ever went to 4 separate championship rounds and only come away with 2 wins. You know how rare that is? I looked up Major League Baseball. No players had ever went to 4 World Series and won 2 games or less. It didn't happen. I looked up the NHL. There is one guy who was also 2-16, Gordie Howe. Now that was back in the 40s and the 50s when there was only 6 teams, but it doesn't matter, whatever. He got swept twice and lost in 5 twice, just like LeBron James did. Gordie Howe, 2-16 in his 4 worst Stanley Cup finals. Now, if anybody can tell me or show me or find any player where the championship round is a best of 7, where someone went to the championship round at least 4 times in their worst 4 showings and only came away with 2 wins or less. Please show me that. I mean, NFL obviously doesn't translate, the worst thing you'd have is like the Buffalo Bills. They lost 4 Super Bowls in a row. I mean, John Elway played in 5 Super Bowls, and he did win 1 of them. But if you go by quarters, in the 16 quarters, even the Buffalo Bills, who lost 4 games, they actually outscored the other team in 5 of the 16 quarters they played in, and 2 quarters they tied. So, hell, that's almost half. I'm saying the Buffalo Bills in the 90s were more competitive than what LeBron James did, and they lost 4 in a row. I mean, there is no one else to compare this to. There's just LeBron. There's no one else in any sport with the exception of Gordie Howe. I looked up everybody that I could, everybody I could find. There may be some obscure player that, played on one team for a couple years and then played with another one for a couple years. Maybe. I don't know. But anybody with any kind of, like a starter, no. I feel very confident in saying that. In any of the sports, NHL, MLB, or NBA, that has a championship that's a best of 7, there is only LeBron James coming away with 2 wins, except for Gordie Howe. So LeBron does have Gordie Howe that could say it also. And of course, that was, 60 to 80 years ago, or 70 to 80 years ago. A long time. So anyway, that's all I got for this video. What can you say? I looked up everybody in all the sports, and there was just no one who failed this miserably. And you can come at me with all the competition, or he had this, whatever. Don't want to hear it. He didn't have any serious key injuries in those finals. Definitely not in 2018. Everybody was there. In 2017, everybody was there. 2014, everybody was there. I mean, yeah, Wade might have been hobbled or something a little bit, but he was still playing. 2007, I mean, not really anybody of note that I can remember, but I'm just saying, you won 2 games in 4 championship rounds. That is insane. I've always thought it's crazy. People bring it up, oh, he lost in 5 twice, and he got swept twice. But I don't think people understand the historical value of that. I mean, there is no one in any of the sports, except for Gordie Howe and LeBron James, that came away with 2 wins in 4 best-of-7 championship series. It's just, that's it. There's your list. Gordie Howe, LeBron James. Pretty remarkable. So anyway, that's all I got for this video. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked it, please hit the like button. And till next time.